Yo, what's up? My name's Steven, otherwise known as Ardmore, and I'm a producer and multi-instrumentalist based out of Fort Worth, Texas. I've been producing for around 5 years now, but I didn't really start taking it seriously until about a month ago. I made it my goal to win one of these Kenny Beats beat battles. I've been submitting to them for about 13 months now, and earlier this week, I won my first one. So thank you, Kenny. Thank you, chat, for all the W's. And let's get into the breakdown. Let's go. Oh my God! Okay, so if you didn't get a chance to watch the stream, there was a short delay at the beginning of the battle, and we didn't get the sample for about 5 minutes. So I just opened Keyscape and I started playing some chords, and this is what I came up with. And I like that idea, but I'm not a huge fan of starting my beats off with grand piano. It just doesn't inspire me a lot to make a beat. So I pulled up this Sylenth patch that I made a while ago. It's just a very basic sine wave patch that's a little detuned, and I played this. Then I needed a lead, and so I pulled up this sine patch that I made in Serum, another really basic patch, just a sine wave, no detune, and a low pass filter, and I played this lead. So the next thing I added is this Labs piano patch. Labs is a collection of sound libraries that are all completely free. I would really recommend it if you're looking to expand your sample library. And I played something like this on it. So I think by now we had gotten the sample. This is the sample. And when I heard it, my immediate thought was just to turn it into a lead. So I took a tiny little cut of the sample. It was the part where the note was being sustained, and I just looped this short section, put it on Warp Pro, and then added some simple effects, a high pass filter, some reverb, because there were some clicks in the sample, and I wanted to soften the clicks, and then Sketch Cassette to add some vibe to the sound. And it sounded like this. So after that, I had pretty much filled out all of the melodic stuff going on, and I was pretty happy with how the keys were sounding so far. So I went on and I added some embellishments. The first of which is this Moon guitar, also in Labs. Sounds amazing. It sounds like this. And I added some delay to it. And then I also used that same Moon guitar patch to add this little lick in the beginning before the beat comes in. Then I've got one more Labs patch, which is this one right here. This patch is crazy. It's called Granular Whale Song. Super dope patch, but there was a little bit too much sustain. I felt like it would have just washed out the rest of the beat. So what I did is I played all of the chords, but I spaced them out really far, and then I froze it, bounced it to audio, and then I just took little pieces from the middle of each chord that I wanted, and I placed them in this track here, and it ended up sounding like this. And then I'm just doing a little pitch bend up at the beginning here and a pitch bend down at the end of the second chord. So the last melodic thing I have going on here is this simpler patch, which is actually my sister's vocals. It's her singing some Oz, and I just played some chords on it, which sound like this. Then in the B section of the beat, I added some harmony to the lead. And this is both just the same lead patch, which sounds like this. Sounds pretty terrible on its own, but when you play it with the rest of the beat, it makes sense. And the final thing I have going on with the keys is this B section, which sounds like this. And I actually learned this trick from watching a Lo-File stream. All I did was I resampled all of my keys into this audio track here. So they sound like this. And the way to do this is you just set whatever group you want to record as your input to an audio track. So I recorded those here, then I threw a filter on the track, and I'm manually automating the frequency with my mouse. And to be able to record this, you have to make sure that this chain link thing is selected, and make sure that your track is not record armed, because if it is, then you'll start recording audio. Super cool trick. All right, let's move on to the drums. All right, so the drums are pretty simple. The first thing I did is I hopped on the drum set behind me and I played out this groove here on top of the keys. And I decided that I didn't want the overheads or the snare in, so I just turned those tracks off and I was left with this hat track here. And then I just turned this down 9 semitones and mess with the transients a bit so I could get it a bit snappier. Then the kick is just a Monte Booker kick. Sounds really dope. I did tweak it a little bit. So this is the original sample. And if you hit A, you can switch between your automation view and your clips view. And what I did is I just shortened this sound a little bit and then I printed it onto this audio track and added some saturation just to make it punchier, and this is what my kick sounded like. The rim shot was just some random rim shot sound that I grabbed. Sounds like that. I cut out the lows, and the sound was kind of stereo, which was a little strange. So I just turned the width down here in utility just to put it in the middle. Then I added this shaker. And if you listen to both the hat and the shaker together with the metronome, I was going for that drunken feel, so I made sure when I played the hat to shift it behind the metronome, and both of these are shifted almost an entire 16th note behind the metronome. Then I added an open hi-hat when the kick hits. And that's the whole groove pretty much. There's not a ton going on. I changed some things in the B section. I added this hat loop here. I believe this is from a Graves kit. Did the same thing with the transients to make it a little shorter. I added this tom fill here right before the B section. And then I added this crash just to emphasize when the vocals were kind of building. And the last sound of my drum group is this clap that I made from the sample. And this is basically just the part where the guy is hitting the thing, and I just threw it into simpler, shortened it a bunch, did some EQing, and then I added this delay. I'm pretty sure this is called the Haas effect. Don't quote me on that, but basically what's happening is there's a delay in the left and the right ear, and one of them is a little later than the other one, so it gives this cool phasing effect. And the way you do this is you just turn your dry wet all the way to 100, feedback to 0. One of the delays, you set them to 1 millisecond, the other one you set to whatever value you want to, however much delay you want. And that's the drums. They sound like this. Okay, let's go to the bass. For the bass, I'm just using Moto Bass. I'm using the Bassman 5 preset. And then basically I just played the root notes and added fills when I thought there was space to do so. And this is what I played. that was the bass. So now I pretty much had the whole structure of my beat, and I had about 20 minutes left in the beat battle, and I felt like the beat needed some more. So first thing I did is I grabbed some Snoop Dogg ad-libs, and I threw those in. This is what they sound like.
Yeah.
I pitched that one down and added some delay, and then this one. Yeah, this one is just pitched normally. And then I took a little chop from Lo-File's track, Preach, and I pitched that down a bunch. And after that, it still felt like there was something missing from the beat. I decided to do some background vocals, and it seemed like a lot of people like this, and this made me really happy because I sang all of them. So this is what they sounded like. I have this effect chain on the vocal group. Starting with M Auto Pitch, this plugin is awesome. It's also free, and usually I just use it for formant shifting. I turn the depth and speed all the way down so it's not doing any auto-tune, and then I just mess with the formant shift. And this is what the formant shift is actually doing. I'm doing a very mild amount here, but you can go really crazy with this and get some super cool sounds. Then I've just got a glue compressor, and then I'm also doing that Haas delay effect here. And yeah, that's pretty much the whole beat. I'll play it out now.